Hi, this is Second Readings by Andre, where I do predictions of the future. If you'd like me to do prediction for you, let me know in the comments below. Today we're talking about the change in world governments from 2020 and beyond. Now, as humans, now we have access to a ton of information out there from around the world. We're becoming more and more worldly. Unless you hide under a rock or something, we can pretty much get information from anywhere from the world, especially with YouTube. At least for the next little while, there's other platforms out there may be a little better in the future. But for now, YouTube and Facebook and all those wonderful things. Wonderful is a wonderful word too about some of those platforms, but it allows us to find out information from people from around the world. Now, governments right now, especially where I live, Canada, and you got the US and Europe and all that, the governments use fear of the people that live next door or another country across the world. And they use fear and are used to use fear, still are, um, of our not understanding what goes on in those countries. So they can use that fear to keep us in line. Okay, that's the way government's been running for the last as long as there have been governments. That's how they've been doing things. Like myself, I'll do a reading for somebody in a different country. I did a reading for somebody in uh, Taiwan a couple weeks ago over Skype, and I actually asked questions when the reading is done about what it's like over there. And or is this thing true that they say on the news? And they go, no, that's a bunch of baloney. That's a nice word I'll use here on YouTube to keep it family friendly. And I can do readings for people around the world through Skype or other media uh, and ask the question, what is it really like there? Okay, so you're starting to see that the government keeps lying to us to keep us in line. Okay, in the future, it's going to be more of a world focus. So people are going to be more worldly in their view because they have access to information from around the planet, and they're going to start to see that a lot of the things that their government is telling them and lying to them about are just that, lies. So when you start to distrust your government and news and businesses and banks that are always trying to keep you in line, and they can't use fear on you to keep you in line, what's going to happen after that? Okay, so governments are going to have to change considerably and not use fear tactics. Okay, especially with in states there's that Medicare for all, which we have everywhere in the rest of the world has some version of that. Especially in Canada, we have something like Medicare for all. Not the most amazing system in Canada yet, right now, but it's still a little bit better in the United States' system. Their medical stuff is probably a little bit better, but if you don't have money, you're out of luck. In Canada, if I get sick, I can go to the hospital and it doesn't cost an arm and a leg and have to sell the house. Okay? So they keep you in fear over that issue in the States that they can't do it or whatever, and it's a bunch of baloney. Okay, they can, but they just don't want to do that for whatever reason. Other things, I believe cryptocurrencies, when they come in full force, will take away a lot of government jobs, especially us paying our taxes. We could choose where we want our money to go. You know, 70% goes into infrastructure or medical, or and you could have it right at the machine where you pay. That's going to be a big thing where the money goes automatically to where it's supposed to, not to a big pot and then distributed. It just goes directly to that spot where it needs. That's an incredible thing for the future of cryptocurrencies. Other things, I believe we're gonna a little bit more socialist, like Norway, Canada. We're kind of socialist. You got to have that equal balance between socialism, not the communism, socialism. They're two different things. And capitalism. Okay? You have to have an equal balance of that. And that's what's going to be happening in a lot of the world until we have a complete changeover where we don't really need government at all. And that's going to be happening in about 60 years' time, where we don't really need government. It's just a global thing. And you could just have a small committee to oversee day-to-day stuff within districts. That's going to be happening in that 60-year period because people are going to get tired of the same old baloney of governments. Even here in Canada, we have all kinds of silliness going on with our governments. So what else is going to be happening? It's going to be the self-reliance is going to be happening, okay, after the financial crash. After we get over the big that's going to happen, we're going to start to pick ourselves up and get rid of the old things that don't work and become more self-reliant on smaller community, more community helping each other out. And on a larger scale, it's going to be the world helping one another out, not looking for ways of beating each other over the head with a baseball bat. It's going to be more of a helpful thing. I think most of the world will be helping each other out, where the United States, for the next little while afterwards, is going to be kind of left out in the cold for they're going to get their time out. I love Americans. I just don't like their government and what they're doing. But that's going to be happening in the next 60 years. And this is where we're going to have true freedom of the planet. I always think globally. I don't think locally. What's good for the globe? That's where I think. Okay? I like to thank everyone that's been donating down below. Remember to get your 15 to 35% off Amazon purchases also down below. Remember to check out my Patreon. Remember to like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the future.